Hi guys, so this is my review of the Swit Flow 2000, and it's a wireless video transmission unit that operates on the 5.1 to 5.9 gigahertz range. And this was very kindly sent to me for review by the team at Proav, and after this review I will be sending the unit back to them as it was a limited time loan for a 5-week high-end production that I had. With that out of the way, the Swit Flow 2000 can operate at distances of 2,000 feet or 600 meters, and it also has both SDI and HDMI on both the transmitter and the receiver, meaning it's compatible with a wide variety of cameras. You can pick up the Flow 2000 for around £3 in the UK, and that's including tax. And for that price you get the transmitter, a single receiver, a locking DC to DTAP power cable, a mains locking DC power cable with the 13 amp plug on the end, a small friction arm, 6 antenna, and it all comes nicely packaged in a Swit branded hard case with pre-cut custom foam. On both the transmitter and receiver, Swit give you a small OLED screen for changing and viewing settings, and that's controlled by the little red joystick on both units. As I mentioned before, both units have HDMI and SDI, although the Flow does not cross-convert between the two signals. Both units also have a USB Type-C port for firmware updates, and in terms of power options, again, both units have a DC barrel that has a locking connector and an MPF battery plate on the back. One thing I really like about the unit is the build quality of both the transmitter and the receiver. They're predominantly constructed out of aluminium and they feel really solid. And both the transmitter and receiver are really compact considering the distance they can reach. Usually units like that are a little bit larger, but both the transmitter and receiver are actually the same size. When you turn the systems on, they'll pair automatically, and they have an auto channel select feature that will find the best signal to noise ratio channel for you to use, but you can also choose a channel manually if you'd prefer. So as I said earlier, Proav very kindly lent me the Swit Flow 2000 to use on a 5-week job, and after using it for that extended period of time, here are some of my key thoughts. Very rarely does the image drop out on the unit, and when it does, it usually comes back really quickly, and that's something I like. It feels very reliable. As you would hope for a unit that's branded with 2,000 feet of range, the distance you get out of the unit is fantastic, and it actually performs really well through walls, and multiple walls at that. Now, sadly I don't have the means to do an on-camera range test for you because there's nowhere I can safely go to get 2,000 feet away from the unit to see when it drops out. But if you check out this video link below by Marcus Robinson Films, he reviews the Swit Flow 500 and does an impressive range test where he gets a very, very large distance between the camera and the unit before it drops out. So if you check out that video, that will give you an idea about the performance, and I would expect better from the 2000. One thing to be aware of is the Flow isn't a Wi-Fi based system, so that means there's going to be no app control or interaction functionality with the unit. It's purely a 5.1 to 5.9 gigahertz system, so it functions like something more traditional like a Teradek where you need to just plug it into a monitor, and that's just something to consider for some users. So where does the Flow 2000 sit in the market? Now, Teradek offer 1500 and 3000 foot models, and both of those are a lot more expensive than the model from Swit, and it sits quite comfortably between them. The Teradek Bolt LT 1500 is probably the Swit 2000's closest competitor. The LT Bolt comes in at around £5 in the UK, so that's around £2,000 more expensive than the Swit Flow system. So the Swit Flow is a lot cheaper, but it does come with a couple of caveats. The main one for me being that it's not entirely latency free. As you can see by my latency tests, it does come in at about 10 milliseconds, which isn't terrible, and it's a lot better than some of the other cheaper systems on the market, but it's just not as good as the Teradek, and it is slightly noticeable. Another issue that we found is the video signal coming out of the Swit system is noticeably compressed. It often results in banding and artifacts, especially in the darker areas of the image. And if you've got a specific LUT on, sometimes LUTs don't play too well with the system and will cause additional artifacting. So it's nowhere near as clean as the image from a Teradek, but one thing to remember is it's nowhere near as expensive. So is that trade-off worth it? It's up to you. Swit also make a 500 foot model, and that's considerably cheaper than the 2000, and I feel like that's probably the better buy for most people. The Flow 500 is substantially cheaper, coming in at around £1,100 including tax in the UK. You can also get a Flow 500 kit with 2 receivers for just under £2,000, which is really good value for a dual receiver kit. The Flow 500 does seem to suffer from the same issues as the 2000, that being the little bit of latency and the compressed video signal, but I'd love to review the 500 and see how it stacks up against its bigger brother now that I've used it for an extended period of time. So why buy the Flow 2000? Well, the main benefit of the 2000 is its increased range, and that's perfect for if you're going to be setting up your video monitors a fair distance from where you're going to be shooting, whether you're doing like a lot of car work or stunts or that kind of thing, or if you run a drone company and you need to get picture to the ground. It's a great option for that because it's so small and compact and lightweight. So that would be the main reason I'd say to buy that over the 500, because the 500 will work perfectly for most use cases. It's just if you need that added range. That being said, the Swit Flow 2000 is a great lower cost alternative if you need a long distance video transmitter. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and found it informative, and I'll catch you in the next one.